हरे कृष्ण। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। So we'll continue our discussion on the sixth chapter. So till now here was the glorification of Kailash, the beauty, how it is. And most of the descriptions we see in Bhagavatam, the glorification of any place, its beauty and all. The natural beauty is explained, how beautiful trees, birds, and all. That has beauty in itself. And of course, there are also description of palaces and how they are there. But even in palace also there will be gardens. So, and the description of palace is not how what is ivory couches, and then there are then there are beautiful pillars bedecked with all jewels and all. It is not made of fiber, plastic, and what do you call all this metal and all. So they are made with a very high quality. So that is the everything comes from nature, very beautifully made. And now here we see the special prayers. Like when I was in the school, when I was hearing about how the species of various animal species are in endangered state, and so many getting extinct, and all this deforestation, I used to feel very sad. Oh, so many beautiful forests are going away. But after coming to Krishna consciousness, I was completely pacified. I said, oh, anyway, this material world is going to go anyway. All the things are permanently there in spiritual world. So that was a great solace. So Krishna consciousness solves all the problems. So this was like very big problem for me, but it got solved. So here we see, even in this metal world, there are so many places, all these beautiful things are still present. We don't have access for it. That's a different point. But still, we have opportunity to have them. So here we'll see that while traveling, the demigods passed over the forest known as Sugandhika, which is full of varieties of flowers, fruits, and desire trees. So even there also desire trees are. While passing over the forest, they also saw regions of Yaksheshwara. And Prabhupada, that Yaksheshwara is known as Kuvera. He is the treasurer of demigods. So we were discussing also yesterday that this aspect of destruction can only be done by the Lord. So he comes as this Shiva, and then all the people who are in the Tamoguna category, they will be attracted to this person because every living entity needs support in this creation. And who will support? Supreme Lord support. So Supreme Lord is supporting people in goodness in the form of Vishnu. And Brahma and demigods, he supports in the form of for the people who are in Rajoguna. But who will support the people who are in Tamoguna? That also Lord only comes as Shiva. Now, because there is a danger in Tamoguna, because if you enter into Tamoguna, you will get affected. So if any living entity takes the predominating deity form of in charge of Tamoguna, he will definitely get affected by Tamoguna. So Lord only have to manifest as Rudra and Shiva to take charge of Tamoguna and being unaffected by it, because you have to be Lord in Tamoguna means you have to behave in Tamoguna also. Behave in the sense at least externally. The dress you wear, the cosmetics you have, and then like you have all the snakes and the crematorium ashes, and then the dress. Of course, you don't wear any dress, Shiva. And then you are completely, your hair is matted, you don't keep proper hair, you don't maintain your hair, you don't have place to stay, and you are dancing and having all this garland of skull. So basically this form is to attract the living entity. So that's why you see Yakshas are attracted, and all bhutas, pretas, bhutaganas, and datyas, danavas, and rakshasas, they all get attracted to Lord Shiva because they can relate to him very easily. And that form is to give shelter to living entities. So Lord is very kind. He gives shelter for all types of living entities, goodness, passion, ignorance. Because living entities, by that shelter, they will get elevated and they can remain peaceful and happy also, like that. And here the Yakshas are taking shelter. In the description of him in Vedic literature, it is stated that he is fabulously rich. It appears from these verses that Kailash is situated near the residential quarters of Kuber. It is also stated here that the forest was full of desire trees. In Brahma Samhita, we learn that the desire tree which is found in spiritual or especially Krishna local, the abode of Krishna. Look, we learn here that such trees are also found in Kailash. Even in heavenly planets also they are there. The residence of Lord Shiva by the grace of Krishna. It thus appears that Kailash has a special significance. It is almost like residence of Lord Krishna. Wow. See Kailash, because this is Prapanchati, Kailash is manifesting here. It is beyond the material world. That's why it is as good as Krishna residence. And in that celestial forest, there are many birds whose neck were colored reddish and whose sweet sounds mixed with humming of bees. The lakes were absolutely decorated with crying swans as well as strong stemmed lotus flowers. Now, Prabhupada is writing, the beauty of the forest was intensified by the presence of various lakes. It is described here that the lakes were decorated with lotus flowers and with swans. There, they don't have much problem with any pollution. It's always pure. Actually, in all over the world, all the water bodies were pure only till the industrial revolution started, because there is no much contamination. Whatever is the simple things that people used to perform, it will not damage so much of water. Now, because of this wind pollution, water pollution, everything is polluted. And even now, if you go to Himalaya, some areas in different countries, which is away from this industrial, there we can see the water is very pure, neat, clean. It is described here, the lakes were decorated with lotus flowers and with swans who played with and sang with birds and the humming bees. Considering all these attributes, one can imagine how beautiful this spot was and how much the demigods passing through enjoyed the atmosphere. There are many paths and beautiful spots created by man on this planet Earth, but none of them can surpass those of Kailash, which are described in these verses. Actually, what we do, we create gardens and parks, and that can be, how big we can make. We can make 1 square mile, that will be a big achievement to have such a big garden or park. But when nature creates, it will be unlimited. The size of some of the, if you say Trikutaka mountain and the beauty of Trikutaka mountain that is described in the 8th canto Gajendra Leelas, if you hear the size of it, it is many times bigger than the whole planet Earth only. What to speak of some country or state. It is huge. It is bigger than Earth only. So we cannot even imagine how such a big garden and all these beautiful things can be existing. And this is how the places are. And all these atmospheric influence unsettled the forest elephants who flocked together in the sandalwood forest, and blowing wind agitated the minds of the damsels there for further sexual enjoyment. Now we can count how many elephants there are there in the earth. They're just very few in number. In our country, I think we have hardly 3,000 tigers or lions and some few hundred, maybe few thousand elephants. Not even thousands, I don't think so. Very less. But there are so many in other planets, so not a problem. Whenever there is a nice atmosphere in material world, immediately there is an awakening of sexual appetite in the minds of materialistic person. This tendency is present everywhere within the material world, not only on Earth, but in the higher planet system as well. And that is actually very important thing to understand. If you want to enjoy, we should not enjoy the Earth. We should do tapasya on Earth and go to heavenly planet and enjoy. It is safe. You will not get any reaction. The Earth planet is karma bhumi. It meant for tapasya. You do tapasya either to go to heavenly planets or go to spiritual world. But that is the point we should do here. We should not just waste our time in enjoying, because it will degrade. To get birth on Earth planet is such a great opportunity. It's not meant for enjoyment. This is only like, it is like students are there. Student life is not for enjoyment, it is to learn. Similarly, the human form of life on earth is meant for tapasya. Tapo divyam putrakayana sattvam shuddhe desma. So even to get Brahma Saukyam, go to heavenly planets or liberation. All three are possible from earth only. That's why it is very special birth. So in heavenly planets, even though they are enjoying so much, they don't get any reaction. They are only exhausting their pious credits, but not that they will be having so much, no reaction. But earth, na, if you do, we are to pay for it. If I enjoy anything, there is a payment for it, or I paid it and I am enjoying. But heavenly planets, it is no much payment. You already paid for it. You are just going, like, you paid in the hotel and you are going and staying in a hotel or a resort. Food, everything you have already paid for it. So they'll come, they will do service and entertain you. So like that, this heavenly planets are. And it is, that's why having a human birth in earth, we should not waste it, even if you want to enjoy in material world. So in complete contrast to the influence of this atmosphere on the minds of living entities within the material world is the description of spiritual world. The women were hundreds and thousands of times more beautiful than the women here in the material world. And the spiritual atmosphere is so many times better. Yet, despite the pleasant atmosphere, the minds of denizens do not become agitated because in the spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planet, the spiritualistic minds of the inhabitants so much absorb the spiritual vibration of chanting the glories of Lord that such enjoyment could not be surpassed by any other enjoyment, even sex, which is a culmination of all pleasures in the material world. In other words, in the Vaikuntha world, in spite of its better atmosphere and facilities, there is no impetus for sex life. Actually, what is happening now? Many people's minds are getting damaged because of the environment which we have. Fully contaminated for the desire to enjoy here. And all the things are bombarding with the same thing. All the advertisements are for what? They are just telling, trying to evoke as a desire to enjoy. They are telling you are meant to enjoy, enjoy. And that's actually what is happening to people. They think that this life is meant for enjoyment and then they continue enjoying like that. Even in previous ages, like Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Satya Yuga, people had some desire to serve. They understood the purpose. That's why they could see the Supreme Lord, and when Lord appeared, they are able to appreciate his presence, and they didn't have much problems. But in Kali Yuga, the problem is even Lord appears, people will say, okay, if you are Lord, I am also Lord. Uh, that is the problem here. They say, okay, if you are also God, it's good, then I can also be God. Because there is always a desire to enjoy. It's so much surcharged with enjoyment. But in the when we give up that enjoying mentality and slowly come to a desire to serve, and then in spiritual world, it's completely desire to serve, and that gives a higher taste. When you have a desire to serve, automatically the lower desire of enjoyment will go away. Even sex desire also, when a husband and wife they stay together and the child is born. When the first child is born, it is said the husband he takes the child in the hands. That time immediately gets a desire. Let me serve this child. And he gets an identity of a father. As soon as he takes the child in the hand, he gets an identity. The ego develops. I am father now. And he will develop a desire to serve. That time, the sex desire reduces. He's going to get param drishtva nivartade. He's going to get higher taste because desire to serve gives the highest pleasure and the highest and most purest way, and what do you say, the highest servant is Srimati Radharani. That's why she gets the maximum pleasure and everybody comes below them. So everybody is serving in spiritual world, and even in material world also, in mundane level also, if somebody is desiring to serve, then his desire to enjoy in this material world will slowly reduce. And initially when boy and girl are together, they're married, there is a strong desire to enjoy. But as soon as the child comes, then both of them they develop a desire to serve, and immediately that reduces. So that's how we can subdue these lower things. Param drishtva nivartate. And Prabhupada is writing, the inhabitants of Vaikuntha are so spiritual and enlightened that in presence of such spirituality, sex life is insignificant. Uh, hope you are clear with this understand. They also saw that the bathing ghats and their staircase were made of Vaidurjamani. The water was full of lotus flowers. Passing by such lakes, the demigods reached a place where there was a great banyan tree. And then the banyan tree was 800 miles high. So 8 miles high, our flights goes 4 miles high. Actually 4 kilometers, not even 4 miles. The distance of the flights that fly around, and 8 miles high is jet planes and all, they can go to that flight. Now it is 800 miles high. If you go 100 yojanas, that is 800 miles high, 800 miles, 100 yojana, 100 into 8, 800 more, yeah. 800 yojanas high above the air is Rakshasa Loka. Now we are having a tree which is 800 miles high. I cannot imagine also how somebody 800 miles. And its branch spread over 600 miles around. The tree cast a fine shade which permanently cooled the temperature, yet there was no noise of birds. So, and below that, it's like a, you don't need any house only. It's like a huge house for you. 600 miles. Wow. So it will be half of India. Generally, in every tree, there are birds nest, and birds congregate in the evening and create noise. But it appears that this banyan tree was devoid of nests, and therefore it was calm, quiet, and peaceful. There was no disturbance from noise or heat, and therefore this place was just suitable for meditation. So half of our country, that much is the size of the tree. It is said the demigod saw Lord Shiva sitting under the tree, which was competent to give perfection to mystic yogis and deliver all people. As grave as time eternal, he appeared to have given up all anger. So Lord Shiva is very satisfied. In this verse, the word Mahayogamaye is very significant. Yoga means meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Mahayoga means those who engage in the devotional service of Vishnu. Meditation means remembering, Shravanam, Smaranam. There are 9 different kinds of devotional service, of which Smaranam is one process. The yogis remember the form of Vishnu within his heart. Thus, there are many devotees engaged in meditation on Lord Vishnu under the big banyan tree. Wow. So here they all are sitting in Kailash and meditating on Supreme Lord. Dhyana vastita tatkutena manasa pashyantiyam yogam. The Sanskrit word Maha is derived from the affix Mahat. This affix is used when there is a great number or quantity. So Maha Yoga indicates that there are many great yogis and devotees meditating on the form of Lord Vishnu. Generally, such meditators are desirous of liberation from material bondage, and they are promoted to the spiritual world, to one of the Vaikunthas. Liberation means freedom from material bondage or nuisance. In the material world, we are suffering life after life because of our bodily identification. And liberation is freedom from the miserable conditions of life. Now, Lord Shiva sat there surrounded by saintly persons like Kuvera, the master of Kuhyakas, and the four Kumaras who were already liberated souls. Lord Shiva was grave and saintly. And Prabhupada is telling the personality sitting with Lord Shiva was significant because the four Kumaras were liberated from birth. It may be remembered that after their birth, these four Kumaras were requested by his father to get married and beget children in order to increase population of the newly created universe. But they refused. At that time, Lord Brahma was angry. In that angry mood, Rudra or Lord Shiva was born. That means he appeared in this material world because that is eternal form. Thus, they were intimately related. Kuvera, the treasure of demigods, is fabulously rich. Thus, Lord Shiva's association with the Kumaras and Kuvera indicates that he had all transcendental material opulence. Actually, he is the qualitative incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his position is very exalted. So, he is incarnation of Supreme. And then demigod saw Lord Shiva situated in that perfection as a master of senses, knowledge and fruitive activities, and the path of achieving perfection. He was the friend of entire world, and by virtue of his full affection for one from everyone, he was very auspicious. He says Lord Shiva is full of wisdom and tapasya, austerities. And important. See, why Lord is doing tapasya, Lord Shiva? You need to know anything? No. Because the tapasya itself and meditation itself gives pleasure. So that is very important to understand. Not that there are itna people may say na after becoming Shiva also you have to meditate. I thought you will get some freedom and you can be free from all these things. No, it's not like that. That meditation and tapasya itself is a pleasure after one level. So he is experiencing that bliss. He is just not interested in material things. One who knows the modes of work is understood to be situated on the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot serve the Supreme Personality of God unless one has achieved full perfection and knowledge in the ways and means of perfect performing devotional service. So Lord Shiva is described here as Adishvara. Ishvara means control. Adishvara means particularly control of the senses. Generally, our materially contaminated senses are apt to engage in sense gratificatory activities, but when a person is elevated by wisdom austerity, the senses then becomes purified and they become engaged in the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is a Vaishnava. Lord Shiva, by his actions within his material world, teaches all conditioned souls how to engage in devotional service 24 hours a day. Therefore, he is described here as Loka Mangalam, good fortune personified for all conditioned souls. Okay. He was seated on a dark skin and was practicing all forms of austerity because his body was smeared with ashes. He looked like a evening cloud on his hair was a sign of full moon, half moon, a symbolic representation. Lord Shiva's symptoms of austerity is not exact with those of Vaishnava. Lord Shiva certainly the number one Vaishnava, but he exhibited a features for a particular class of men who cannot follow the Vaishnava principles. So this is very simple, very clear. He exhibited a feature for a particular class of people who are that in Tamoguna. Or some may be in Satoguna, Rajoguna also, but most of them in Tamoguna, who cannot follow Vaishnava principles. The Shaivites, the devotees of Lord Shiva generally dress like Lord Shiva and sometimes they indulge in smoking and taking intoxication. Such practices are never accepted by the followers of Vaishnava. Like that. He was seated on the straw mattress and speaking to all the present, including the great sage Nada, to whom he specifically spoke about the absolute truth. So we will take this two verses from 37 onwards. Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you all very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद।